What is the difference between regulation and relaxation with the nervous system? There can be a bit of an obsession around relaxation and wanting to initiate the relaxation response and tone the vagus nerve, which I'm all for. It's so important and such a key aspect, but it's only half of the story, it's only half of the picture. And really, if we were going to talk about the nervous system from a full picture perspective, we would use the term regulation more so than relaxation, because relaxation is just focusing on one half of the nervous system. It's focusing on the part of the autonomic nervous system that is your relaxation response. This is called your parasympathetic nervous system. And it's kind of criminalizing and leaving out of the picture the sympathetic nervous system, which is oftentimes referred to as the fight or flight nervous system. But it does so much more than just that. And we need to remember that the sympathetic nervous system is just as helpful and beneficial to cultivate in a healthy way as the parasympathetic nervous system. And in fact, if there's a lot of residual stress and trauma and fight or flight patterns stuck in the body, and we just try to relax, relax, relax again and again and again, it's like putting a weighted blanket around and over all of this really high potency kinetic energy. And it can start to actually build that intensity and charge more and more and more, and increase anxiety and increase anger and increase those more sympathetic states. So when we talk about regulation, we're learning how to balance both sides of the nervous system. We're learning how to balance the relaxation response and that quality of, okay, my breath can slow down, my heart rate can go lower, my muscles can soften and release and let go. But we're also working with the part of the nervous system that builds charge, where the heart rate increases and the breath shortens and the muscles tighten, for example. And in fact, oftentimes, we really need to consciously go toward the sympathetic states, especially when there's bandwidth and enough room and space to fully feel the energy that comes from the sympathetic side of the nervous system, in order for that energy to start to really flow and to release. So some of these more activated practices that you find in the yoga tradition, active breath works and postures and these sort of things that are going to actually build some heat and fire in the body, can be really helpful for starting to move sympathetic charge out. And from a somatic perspective, it's actually going toward and learning how to really feel and let the emotions and energies of anxiety and fear and anger through you, rather than just trying to repress them by putting a relaxation weighted blanket on top. And this takes bandwidth to be able to do. So that's where our relaxation practices and vagal nerve toning and what's called orientation, which is connecting with your five senses to the environment, to present moment, time, and space. That's where those practices really come into hand. Those are what is going to help you increase more and more and more bandwidth so that you can be with the high intensity sympathetic energies without getting flooded and overwhelmed and going into a completely frozen, dissociated state. So nervous system regulation is what we want, not just relaxation, because regulation is what's going to naturally allow the nervous system to flow and shift states from relaxed and sleepy at night to awake and energized in the morning, and all of those ebbs and flows in between, from comfy, cozy to passionate and fiery. And of course, the other side of the spectrum as well, those moments of sadness and lethargy and perhaps depression, which aren't inherently bad experiences. We just don't want to get stuck in them. And nervous system bandwidth is what helps us keep in flow, rather than if there is low regulation and low bandwidth, we get stuck in these states. I get stuck in my depression. I get stuck in my anxiety. And then I'm trying so hard to get unstuck. What we need to do is increase the threshold of being with our internal experiences, and from there, learn how to let the energy move through rather than get stuck inside.